So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another brand new RGM podcast. And I'm chuffed to bits to be joined by Brandon and Alex from the Sherlocks. How you doing, lad? You all right?
Yeah, good, thanks to you.
Yeah, Sam, mate. Nice one. Thanks for joining us today. It's always appreciated. You've got the big third album coming up shortly. We'll get to that. But I just wanted to have a bit of a chat, if that's all right, before we get to business.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So, what I've always respected about the Sherlocks is that you've done it the hard way. And when I say the hard way, I mean from the really small pubs, touring to fuck all over the country all the time, gradually building up your audiences throughout the country, right up to the main stage at festivals and that kind of stuff. So looking back over that journey, lads, how does it feel now to be looking back at the early days compared to where you are now?
Well, certainly played a few toilets, played probably about 1,500, well, at least 1,500 gigs now up and down country over the last 10 years. And first 3 years were literally pubs and clubs, like anywhere. We were gigging 2, 3 times, sometimes 4 times a weekend, just trying to get his name out anywhere we could. Like, we break out into like Sheffield and then Chesterfield and then just anywhere, really. We'd play anywhere. And
so bands, I always speak to bands, and particularly like, new starters now, and they want to break out of their hometown. It's very hard coming from Sheffield, like myself, to offer bands that route out of the city centre, because a lot of bands are still guilty of playing their hometown too much, I think, even still now. Even when I put bands on in Manchester, where I live now, it's still the case here where bands are still wanting to get out of the city. So how did you escape, really, and just branch out to and find those audiences out there? What happened there?
I can't. We just grafted and we got a buzz going in Sheffield. Because we're from the middle of nowhere. Well, me and Kieran now, we're from Bolton-on-Burn, which is like in the middle of Doncaster, Rotherham, and Barnsley. It's like bang in the middle of nowhere. No happens ever. So our nearest city was Sheffield. So we used to just go to Sheffield all the time and start gigging, we started with probably like most bands, doing like jam nights and open mic nights and just trying to get his name out that way. And we were playing covers like Beatles, Arctic Monkeys, all that, throwing as like Kieran would write a tune and then we throw that into set. Really just got a buzz going in Sheffield. Then we got a buzz going in Manchester. And then Tom Clark from Enemy gave us a shot. He said, I think his girlfriend at the time, I don't know if it's still his girlfriend, said liked our band apparently, and he just sent me his manager's number and said, you can support us on these 3 gigs. So we were like, right, let's do it. And that gave us a leg up. Really. Even though it were only 3 gigs, it probably didn't move dial, but in our heads, we were like, this is something's happening here. And then I think it was after the Newcastle gig we supported them. He said, oh, you can support us tomorrow if you want in Glasgow. I'll give you a shout. Well, we'll get his manager to give you a shout in the morning if it comes off. So we'll wait for a call all morning and then got it through at it must have been like 11:30 or something. Kieran still at school. I'd finished 6th form at that point. So I had to so we literally jumped in his van. Luckily I could drive. I'd just passed my test. Jumped in van and drove, picked our Kieran up from school and drove straight to Scotland and supported Enemy in Glasgow. It was mental.
What can you remember of the early days, Alex? Any fun stories or just like
not much? So no, not a lot. Because I'll obviously be joining on later on, but I'd heard of the guys. They've been around quite a while. So got a name for themselves, definitely.
Nice one. So I can remember being at little gigs in Sheffield and seeing you guys still supporting other bands when your name were building up a bit of traction. You were still at local gigs, like at Washington in Sheffield. I've seen you at about 3 of you sometimes, because it's always a messy night in there, isn't it? Frog and Parrot, I've seen you supporting bands down there as well. So what made you still carry on doing that as you were progressing?
I don't know. It's like a bit back then anyway. Obviously, since we've been busy doing his own things, like, because it got to a point where if we weren't in UK, we were in Europe, and if we weren't in Europe, we were in America.
Yeah.
And if we weren't in America, we'd be in like somewhere in Asia, or like South Korea or Japan or somewhere like that. So we'd not. But back in like I'd said 2013 to 2015, 2016, we were always in and out of these open mic nights and just trying to play as much as we could in Sheffield just to try and get his name out. And it's obviously worked, because since then we've sold O2 Academy out a couple of times. Big room. And like, remember one at first times we put his own gig on in small room, we were all looking on the balcony thinking one day we'll play that. And then we've ended up selling it out a couple of times. So it's just like, it's mad. But the graph's paid off. But it was like tramlines. I think our work ethic were a lot like times 10 to anyone else who were trying to break through. Like, we remember one tramlines, I think we played like 4 gigs in one day, and we were just wheeling amps across roads just to get to called the Hop or something like that. We played in like this little tiny place, then played that, and then we were like, we'll just play anywhere.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely paid off, and it's great to see a local band from my area take off again. I think you guys are like one of the biggest guys that have done it since the Monkeys took off and all that kind of stuff, didn't you? Did you feel any responsibility to Sheffield when you branched out into the big old world?
Yeah, well, because we wouldn't really say we were like, we always said we're a Sheffield band, even though we're not from Sheffield. Like, we're on outskirts, like, but I went to Sheffield Uni, Sheffield Hallam Uni, so I always felt like I was always in and around that scene anyway. So we always labelled ourselves as a Sheffield band, no matter where we played in world, because if we said, "Oh, we're from Bolton-on-Down," they'd be like, "Where's that?" You know what I mean? So we're just like, "Yeah, we're from Sheffield." So, and we just built it up, and I think at one point we were getting branded as the biggest unsigned band in UK, because we were selling out like mad venues, and we didn't have a record deal or anything. We were just testament to fans who just kept coming, and there were a word of mouth buzz. And I think a band we looked up to a lot at the time were Catfish and Bottlemen, and it's same kind of work ethic. Like, they did the same. They were just grafting and grafting and grafting. Then they got the chance, and then they've just gone to they're in another stratosphere. Like, but
nice one. So I have to mention that because I own and run this magazine thing called RGM, we have reviewed your albums. I don't know if you've seen those reviews.
I saw one of them, I think, once.
Yeah. And
were it a joke? I think one of them were a joke.
No,
I think one of them were a joke.
What I found interesting, and what I didn't want to shy away from, is mentioning them, because the reviewer, they were quite scathing about particularly the second album, thinking it were pretty much, if there weren't, in their opinion, there wasn't a lot of development from the first album.
Yeah.
How would you? I just wanted to get, be open and honest about, and bring that up. And how would you reply to that?
Well, to be honest, I don't think you could take it too serious anyway, because you don't have to read it. And if it's a credible source, like, when I looked at it, I think we all started laughing. So, have you seen this? So I looked at it, and I just looked at the thing, and I thought, who's wrote this? I just thought, chances are whoever's wrote it's probably not in a band, or they're obviously, I don't know. I was just thinking, can they even play an instrument for a start? And then I thought, and then our fans just saw it. They were writing back, and I was thinking, this is a bit daft, isn't it? Like, I was just thinking, we were laughing at it, thinking, but everyone's entitled to their opinion, no matter what. Like, but if it comes across as like that bad, it's like, it looks bad on you for a start, because it's not a credible thing. And we don't take any notice anyway, because it was top 20 album. You know what I mean?
I absolutely applaud you for that, and I just felt it right to bring it up and give you a voice back on that, because I appreciate.
No, I don't know. I can't remember. I remember literally seeing a little bit of it.
Yeah.
And I thought, and I think we were like together at the time, and I think we seen that, and I started laughing, like literally laughing at it. But you can't take it too serious. I did think it was a joke at first, though, to be fair.
it wasn't a joke. It was a review, but it is what it is. I suppose it's not a reflection from me personally. It is
Yeah,
like you say, it's one person's view.
yeah, it don't matter.
And there's always been that like aura around the Sherlocks, and it's similar with the Cortinas. Really, it's like either people are really love and they're proper behind the band, or they're not.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
I've never really, to be honest, with our band, I've never really felt that. I've always felt like everyone's behind us and respected what we've done in terms of our hardware gig and stuff like that. I won't say we like there is some bands where they are really like a lot of people don't like Coldplay.
Yeah.
But they don't care, do they?
Similar kind of thing.
Look at them. They're like selling stadiums. I don't think they care about what, like a lot of negative people aren't really, I don't know, they ain't got much to say good about anyone, have they? So you can't, I sometimes feel sorry for them, to be honest.
Yeah.
You know, I just think it's obviously something a bit deeper within them if they're having to put out negative views about people. But from our side, all we see is positive because it's obviously fans who follow us.
Yeah. No, I respect that. I just wanted to bring it up because I think the last time I saw you guys live were Neighbourhood Festival at Manchester Academy.
Yeah, that was a good festival, wasn't it? Afternoon.
Yeah, it was like 2:00 in the afternoon or something.
Yeah, there was and Miles Kane on.
Yeah. And what I noticed is that straight away you had the crowd in the palm of your hands. So how important to you is the live part of what you do as the Sherlocks?
I'd say it's the most, like it's the biggest thing by a mile because we've never been one of them bands who gets like millions of streams on like Spotify or YouTube or stuff like that. But we're just one of them, like, I don't know, it's like I won't say a working class band where I think the fans connect with us because they can just see we're four normal lads who are just putting some tunes out into the world and they're jumping on board with it, I think.
But the level of musicianship and how tight you are, and that's got to come from them 1,500 gigs you've done on it.
Yeah, it must have something to do with it. But like that gig surprised us, to be fair, because we only found out on that morning there were only us and Miles Kane playing in that venue.
Yeah,
we were doing the afternoon slot, and then Miles Kane were doing the night slot. So that meant everyone who turned up in that and packed that academy out turned up just for us.
Yeah.
So that blew us away. But we've always felt Manchester's become a bit of a hometown to us because we've always like, I don't know, it's one of the best music scenes, isn't it? But they dig like real music and stuff. I saw a tweet today.
What's that?
I saw a tweet today saying it was 3 years ago today since we headlined Victoria Warehouse, which were our biggest headline gig. We sold like 3,500 tickets, and it was just like wild.
Well, one of my friends and friends of RGM is Anton Pell, and he recently he's just brought a book out, and he's just recently put some pictures up of some old gigs that he put on with you guys on at the Dry Bar and all that kind of stuff years and years ago. Have you got any memories from playing in Manchester in those early days?
Yeah, definitely. We've done a few gigs with Anton back in there. Like, I'm sure we played like Dry Bar and
Dry Bar, Night and Day, I think.
Night and Day we did, and then we got to a stage where we were like, we want to start putting our own gigs on.
Yeah.
And there's a fella on Twitter called Mr. Peeps.
Yeah.
You know him? Yeah. He somehow got my number, or I got his number, and he said, "Oh, why don't you come and play this?" He hooked us up with this venue called Crack, and we went to play that, and it was just that is literally what started off the buzz in Manchester. It was one of them where there were no barriers. It was literally like an abandoned venue, like house party kind of thing, and it just will. And this is a point where we've not released many songs either, so you could feel something special happening in Manchester. It just carried to build, its snowball effect.
Yeah, big shout out to Mr. Peeps, know him well. Good, nice lad. So the live performance is what it is. You've even toured with Liam Gallagher's. Any stories from touring with Liam? Because there must be a good few stories about having a
no,
few
not
beers.
really. No mental. Like we had a few.
Yeah.
We had a bit of an after party with him in Manchester. Chuffing Manchester. What about Amsterdam? And then we had a bit of well, we first met him backstage at Leeds Fest. He invited us back and then invited us side stage. So we went and then after the gig, we were going back because I think we were going back to Torbus and we got a call, or his manager got a call and said, "Oh, Liam says, do you want to come back?" So we went back and we had a drink with him that night. And then I think it was 2 weeks after, so we got a call in band practice saying, "Liam's invited you on to support him, like main support across Europe." So we were like, this is pretty good.
Yes,
But
please.
yeah, no too mental. Like we had a drink with him in Paris, and then we had a drink with him properly at Amsterdam.
Yeah.
And we had a drink with him down at that Peter Crouch Fest thing.
Yes.
We had a drink with him down there as well, but he's a proper sound guy.
He's been quite tame, Alex. You got any stories to share with us?
Me? I don't know. Well, like I say, I just joined. So
yeah. What's it like being with the Sherlocks now after a brand new member for them? How did they invite you in? How did it happen?
Well, it's actually through the sound engineer, Nick. Like I used to be in a band with Nick, the sound engineer, and he just called me out of the blue one day and said, "Do you fancy playing guitar for the Sherlocks or giving it a go?" So I give Mick a ring. Went down. In fact, that was just like it might have been pre-Corona. I think it was.
Yeah.
Oh, it was sort of kicking off. Yeah.
It was just kicking off. Yeah.
Yeah. It was. And then I don't know. I think I were on holiday and came back, and then it was mint. So
good on you.
Just got stuck straight in. Yeah, they just said literally. Kieran's like on WhatsApp going, "Oh, learn this, learn that," and I'm like, "Bloody hell, better get a move on." So then we got together, just jammed out some tunes, and then Trent joined as well. I think Trent had been rehearsing with him a week before me, maybe. Had he? Brown? I don't know.
Yeah, I think it was at that point we were like, for us, the main thing was get a lead guitarist in who can play. So I won't say it was like an audition, but it was like see if you can play kind of thing with you both, and then it just figured itself out, really, didn't it? After a couple of weeks.
Yeah, a bit hard work. Like obviously the lockdowns came in, and like we had a couple of rehearsals, but it was literally doing stuff on WhatsApp.
Yeah.
And then obviously lockdown ended, and then
it was weird.
Like, right, come down to Rockfield. I'm like, all right then. Go on.
What caused the lineup change then originally? What changed within the band dynamics then to cause looking around for different members?
What? Say that again. Sorry.
What caused the decision to change the lineup up a little bit?
Oh no, Josh and Andy, who've been in band for like 10 years with us, they're just like we just finishing as a UK tour, and we'd had like a conversation with them, and they basically said they want to do something else, and this was pre-COVID, and we were fully supported what they were like they wanted to do, because obviously we've been through exactly the same as them for 10 years. So it's like, we just had a chat, and then it was like, right, who we gonna get in next?
Yeah.
But fair play like to Josh and Andy, because they said if you need any help training new members up or whatever, just give us a shout, and we'll come down and show them. So
brilliant. So I wanted to ask you about the viral festival poster that came out with Sherlocks at the top, what looked like it had been edited. What can you tell us about that? I just
the Glastonbury one or the one before, why not? Jesus Christ. Right, I think we were on tour in Bournemouth.
Yeah.
Bournemouth, and we were just about to go out to get something to eat. We just sound checked, and I don't know if you like, before you put a festival poster out, your agent sends it you and you approve it, kind of thing. And we seen one before, and we got sent this one. It was for Why Not Festival, and there were us, and then there were Amazons above us, and then we were having a laugh, going, they shouldn't be above us, should they? Surely. I mean, at that point, we were like selling like double tickets. They were, especially in that area.
Yeah.
So we'll swap it for laugh. I went, we'll swap it for laugh.
Yeah.
And then, because the agent said something like, "Oh, can't he's got to go out." We're getting pigeonholed a little bit. Like, he's got to go out today. I went, I'll swap it for laugh, and we'll post it anyway. So we swapped it, posted it, went to KFC, had his dinner, come back, phone had blew up, like absolutely mental, went absolutely viral. BBC Radio 1 News ringing me up, and all these things, and then obviously Why Not were buzzing because poster had just gone absolutely everywhere, and just that's all that kind of thing. But yeah, not got a problem with Amazons. We saw them like a month after at Kendall Calling, and they come straight up to us, and we had a chat with them in tent and that. But yeah, they're sound lads. They were not to do with them. It was just more.
So there's no like secret genius marketing mastermind behind the Sherlocks that are just coming up with these things that they know is gonna go viral.
It was mad because they were like all American news and that getting involved. Like, we're in this band have changed an official festival lineup. Like, it were going everywhere, and like I was just thinking, it must have been a slow news day or something, because I was thinking it's not that important, is it?
No, good work, man. I enjoyed all that coming out. So it was quite funny, wasn't it? Just to see how such a small thing can just blow up and end up on national news.
You were crazy. We're just like, what's happening?
Brilliant. So how's lockdown affected the dynamics of the band's like mental health and that kind of stuff? Is how has like you've got the album coming out? How has it affected things like getting that recorded and just still having that crack between the lads? How has it affected you?
Well, I mean, we still got to like all hang out, and so we were doing it for 3.5 weeks. So you're in your own bubble, which was class. I mean, the only probably downside is that in Monmouth, that because I think they weren't on a full lockdown, but the pubs were shut, and it's pretty well known for the pubs. So on your day off, in fact, they weren't fully shut. The only ones with a beer garden, and there's only a couple.
Yeah, they opened on one Monday, and then that Monday or whatever, we went straight out.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, ended up in the potato field.
So you've still been in your own bubble then, really? So at that time, it wasn't really affecting you because you could still be together.
Yeah, we were. Yeah, that was fine. Yeah, it was just leading up to that. It's a bit of a pain in the arse, to be honest.
Yeah, but
because you want to get a bit of dynamic going playing together, but as soon as you get down there, you're playing. You're straight in a room. You like obviously your pre-production. You're just jamming together, getting all the tunes nailed, and yeah, we're fine. But I mean, obviously, we're not spent that much time together. Only a few. I don't know, 4 or 5 times in Bolton on Durham in this. What is it? The
Phoenix Club.
Legion Club. That's the one. Yeah. What a place.
The Phoenix.
The Phoenix Club. Yeah.
So tell us about the third album then. What can we expect from it?
Fasten your seatbelt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it more experimental?
There's a lot of big guitars, big guitar sounds. I mean, there's one track, the drum sound, when it comes in, because there's this kind of, I don't want to give it away, but when it comes in, you know about it.
Yeah.
So it's and then there's a bit of everything on it though. It's a bit grungy. It's a bit dancey in bits.
It has literally got everything on it.
Yeah,
it's a really like complete album. You can tell it's just like, because like Kieran writes the tunes.
Yeah.
It's you can tell we've got to a stage now where we don't have to craft the songs a bit better. Like his first album, we went in really raw, and went in with Gavin Monaghan, and we just like we spent a month down in Rockfield then, and it was just like creative. Like it was just wild. Like somebody had said, put a guitar on this. It's already got 200 guitars on, but we'd stick another one on for laugh. It was like there were no boundaries. And then our second album, we did it with James Skelly, and he was like the complete opposite. He was like, don't need it, like strip it all back, let's hear it song kind of thing. And then the third album, we've done it with Dave Ehringer, who does all Manic stuff, and it was like a perfect balance because it's just come out like better than ever. It's like it's got the edge of the first album, but it's like pumped up a lot more. And like Alex says, it's got like dancey tunes on. It's got like elements of like grungy on a couple of tunes, and then got Killers vibes on it and Strokes vibes. It's a class album.
Is it going to be harder to play the new songs live if there's more dancey elements to it and that kind of stuff? Do you have more people with the band?
Yeah, no,
those kind of vibes.
It's weird, isn't it?
I wouldn't say so, really. I mean, there's one way it's really like kind of dancey, but there's ways of doing it. I mean, you don't even every single time have to play it bang like the record, because then you can have an alternate version. But even so, it'll still be in your face.
There's probably only one tune that's really dancey. When you say really dancey, it's not hard to play on drums. It's more. I think it's got more like a program bass, so that'd be the more tricky element to it.
Yeah.
But like, it's probably easier to play the third album than is the second album. Third album's gone a bit more to the first album, where it's a lot rawer and its guitars are really cutting through, and it's like it's a lot more rock and roll.
Sure. So
where the second album seemed like the songs are great, but it seemed to compared to the first album, it like mellowed out a little bit. It will like showcase your songs a bit more than your like the third. Like I personally think it's like the perfect blend because it's got the live feel, but the studio polish on it.
Yeah.
I love it.
When are you hoping to hit the road again? Is there any talks behind the scenes about when you guys feel it's realistic to get out into the venues again and start touring the album?
As soon as possible, really. I mean, we've got a new single that'll be coming out in a few weeks.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So it's not off the third album. It's a bit of a mad way of doing it, but that's a good track.
Yeah.
We went down to we went Essex.
Yeah, Chelmsford. No, it weren't. Yeah, Chelmsford, Essex, I think.
Yeah, we went
to
we recorded with a top producer called Adrian Bushby, and we decided we're going to release a standalone single. I don't think nobody knows this yet, though. We're going to release a standalone single anyway in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
It's completely separate from third album because we're going to bridge a gap before we start as album 3 campaign. A bit like Arctic Monkeys did with Leave Before the Lights, that kind of thing. We're going to do that because it's important for a band like ours that we can get into record shops and meet all fans and sign all stuff and do all that kind of thing, because we don't want to. We feel that strong about this album. We don't want it to just come and go. Like, we want it to make a real impact because it is such a strong album.
Yeah, good. So, lads, really appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us on our magazine and podcast. It's an absolute pleasure. I wish you all the best with the third album, the single that's coming out. Everybody that's watching this, Google the Sherlocks, jump on pre-save stuff, just get involved with the new album, because it sounds like it's going to be a good one, eh?
Oh, it's a beauty.
Yeah. Cheers, lads. Really appreciate your time.
Cheers, mate.
Thank you. I'll just stop.
See you later. Bye.
Just stop it recording.